Now let's go ahead and start working on our reminder edit screen. This is where we can edit the reminder. So the first thing I'm going to do is in the reminder cell view, whenever you select a particular reminder, so let's see where that event is. It's right over here on info selected. On select, which is another event, is just going to make sure that we select the reminder, meaning we kind of like put it inside a variable on the parent side. And then there is another event which is on info selected. This is when you actually select the info label. All right. And that is going to make sure that our reminder is displayed in edit mode. So let's go back to our My List Details screen. You can see it's a lot of stuff going on over here, a lot of warnings. And the warnings are basically saying that we are trying to consume these things, the reminder and checked and reminder over here and reminder over here, but we're not really doing anything with it. So we need to fix this stuff first. In order to fix it, I'm going to go ahead and create a state property inside the My List Details screen, and that will be the selected reminder. Selected reminder basically means the reminder that you selected. Okay. Inside over here on the on checked, this one, it's kind of up to you. Like, what do you want to do over here? We already have the reminder. So in that case, we can simply go ahead and say reminder dot it's completed equals to checked. So whatever the checked value is, you're going to just assign that value. Now you might be wondering that, hold on a second, why did we pass in the checked value? Why can't we just do it's completed.toggle? Both techniques will work, but the reason that I'm passing checked over here will come clear in the future videos because we want to delay it. Whenever we are selecting or check marking the reminder, like if I go ahead and check it like this, there we go, then I want to delay it. Delay means that I don't want the reminder to go away instantly. I still want to delay it like 2 seconds so that the user can change their mind. And this is the same functionality, by the way, in the actual Apple Reminders app. So go ahead and, pull out your iPhone and check out the actual Reminder app. They have the same functionality. When we select the reminder is when we simply tap on the row. So I can tap anywhere right there. So what do? Well, we simply go ahead and set the reminder. So I'm going to just select a reminder equals to reminder. Okay. And the other thing is same thing over here. Select a reminder equals to reminder. But on info selected, whenever we select this, we also want to show the edit screen. So maybe I can go ahead and say over here, show reminder edit screen, and I can mark it with true value. Now, what is this show reminder edit screen? You can already guess. It's going to be simply a local state variable. So we're just going to create it, line number 18 right there. And we can switch it, whenever we select the reminder, we're just going to make sure this is true. Okay. So if this is true, then we need to make sure that our reminder is getting displayed. So somewhere along the lines of the code over here, we need to show a particular sheet. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where we can add the sheet. You can pretty much add it anywhere you want, I guess, but let's go ahead and see where this ends. Okay, we can say sheet, and in this case we'll say is presented, which will be our show reminder edit screen, and then the content that you want to present. If let selected reminder, because selected reminder is actually optional, so we're going to unwrap this. Then go ahead and show us the reminder edit screen where, as you can guess, you're going to pass in the selected reminder. Now, there is no such thing as reminder edit screen, so this is the screen that we need to build. let's go ahead and build that screen. I'm going to say new. It's going to be simply a view, reminder, edit screen. And as you can guess, the reminder edit screen will take the reminder as one of the dependencies. So in order to create reminder edit screen, you must pass in the reminder. We get into the same exact issue. Reminder edit screen needs a reminder for the preview. And for this, I'm just going to go ahead and copy the code because we have done this number of times using the container pattern. So I'm just going to use that approach. And now I can go ahead and also import SwiftData. Perfect. So this means that the reminder edit screen container is simply used so that we can look at the previews, and now we should be able to run and look at the preview stuff. The reminder edit screen is a little bit complicated because there's a lot of stuff that's going to go inside the reminder edit screen. So how do we begin? Well, we need a couple of different things for reminder edit screen. We are passing in the reminder, and whenever you pass in the reminder, you're editing it, right? So in order to edit the title and the notes, you need a text field, but you also need to give user an opportunity to delete the reminder and add those values or edit those values. Now, I can go ahead and probably do something like this. I can say title, and I can go ahead and say over here reminder.title. Just by making it bindable, I mean, I will have to go and make this bindable on the top, but I can do that, all right? But I don't really want to do this because it becomes a little bit hard for me to validate these things. So what I'm going to do is instead of, and it will be updated instantly. So as soon as you type something in the text field, it will be updated. The reminder, the underlying reminder in the database will be updated instantly because this is binding, and it will be just going instantly updating it, in the database. So instead of that, what I want to do is to create some local variables. So let's go ahead and create some local variables. There we go. Now, if you don't like this approach, you can also extract out all of these local variables into a separate struct, but if there are only 4 of them, it's not a big deal. That's perfectly fine, all right? And these local variables like title, notes, reminder date, reminder time, they should be populated with the reminder stuff that we are sending. So on appear, I can say title will be equals to reminder.title. And I can use the same approach for notes and also reminder date. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Great. Now reminder date, reminder time, I guess you can make it optional. That's perfectly fine. That is fine. I'm just assigning the current date to it, but we will only save it when it is like not null. But we can also try with like optional part of it. All right. So if you want to make it optional, let's go ahead and make it optional. There we go. And if we run into problem, we can always go back. And now if it's optional, we'll end up like this. And for the text field, we'll simply say, go ahead and bind it to the title. And keeping in mind that the title will contain the reminder title. So let's see what our preview shows right now. And there we go. It says reminder 1, which is actually a text field. And I can go and edit this. Great, right? So whatever the reminder is being sent from the previous screen, which is my list detail screen, we are using that reminder right here. We are populating our local variables, and then we are allowing the user to change those things. Now, since you're changing these individual state variables, the private variables, they don't really change the underlying reminder or the reminder that you send in. So we still need to do that eventually. But it's a good start. We can do the same thing with notes. So here we go. We can bind to the notes also. And you can see that how it appears right there. Reminder 2, this is notes, that's great. Next thing that we want to do is to create some UI to allow the user to select a calendar date as well as the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a separate section. And in that section, I can say at stack. Let's go ahead and start with first creating the image. There we go. Okay, we got the image. Okay, the image looks good. It's tinted, or the foreground style is red, but you can choose any color you want. We also want a toggle over here, a toggle control. And when we toggle it on, when it is on, then we will allow the user to select a calendar date, just like the actual Apple Reminder application. And you can always open up that app and see. So for those toggle things, I'm just going to add 2 more variables. There we go. So one of them is show calendar, the other one is show time. Let's go back to our code over here. And now we can add a toggle view. Okay, let's go ahead and add a toggle view. I'm going to add it right there. Oops, not that. Let's go ahead and copy the right thing. And there we go. All right, so let's see how it appears. Okay, so this is how it appears right there. Looks good. We can toggle it on and off. And basically this is saying that I want to supply the date and I don't want to supply the date. Okay. Now based on that toggle, we can show a calendar picker, date picker, or not. So if show calendar is true, then I can go ahead and say at stack date picker. We may not even need the at stack in this case. We'll see. Let's go ahead and just not use the at stack for now, because we'll see that if we need it or not. And we'll create a date picker where the value is going to go into something called a reminder date. Now, what is reminder date? Well, those are the things that we need to see that if we have declared. Okay, so there we go. You can see now the problem over here that it's saying cannot convert value of type binding date to expected argument binding date without the optional. So that is the problem that we're facing right now, that this can only bind to non-optional things. And that's the main reason that when we started this, we started with creating or saying like some sort of a default value. Now there are other ways you can solve that problem, but I think the easiest one would be to simply make sure that these things are non-optional. And then we can say date. So we're going back to, reverting back to where we started. And now you can see that it doesn't really complain, because now the reminder date itself is a binding of date instead of binding of optional of date. Let's go ahead and check it out. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I toggle this. Okay, there we go. You can see that whenever I say that I want to add a calendar or a date, it shows me this date picker. I can click on the date picker. I can select a date. Okay, that's pretty good. There we go. Okay. So that's one half of this. The other thing that we want to do is, as you may be able to guess, is to use the time part of it. All right, so let's go ahead and build that part so that the user can select the time. Same thing, we're going to start with the at stack, and we're going to use the image for the clock and a toggle button, just like we have done for the calendar. Okay, that is working also. But whenever we change at stack, then in those cases, if show time, then we can go ahead and simply display the hour and minute using the date picker. So now you can see that it displays hour and minute. I can select hour and minute, and I can do both things over here. Cool. Now, one of the requirements for when you're building this is if you come to this edit screen and only select the time, then it should also automatically enable selecting the calendar. Okay, so we need to make sure that that particular thing is working. So how do we make sure that that is working correctly, right? Well, we can always use onChange event. So I can say onChange. And actually, let's try something else. Let's say that if the show time is selected, what about if the show time is selected, we simply say show calendar too? I mean, will that work? Show calendar true. But this is not going to work. And the reason it's not going to work like this is because you are inside this if check where you must return a view. And now you're saying that you're not returning a view. What about if you say, okay, I'm going to just make sure that this comes first, but it's the same thing. All right. So let's go back to onChange. And we will make sure that we are listening to show time. And if show time, meaning if show time is selected, then we will say show calendar is true. Now, if I only select the time, you can see the calendar always turn it on. But if I make it unavailable, calendar is still on. That's fine. I mean, that's actually what we wanted to do. Okay. So this will create some sort of an interface for us, as you can see. That's fine. But in the end, what we want to do is when you are actually saving the information, we want to pick the values that we selected from everywhere, like here, time, date, everything. And we want to update it in the database. The other thing that we want to do is inside the onAppear, we're simply setting the reminder date and reminder time. We should probably also set that maybe sometimes these reminder items, like reminder itself, will already have the date and the time. So in those cases, we can say show calendar and then reminder date is not equal to nil. So if it's not equal to nil, then yeah, go ahead and show the calendar. And same thing with the show time. We can say reminder time is not equal to nil, then you should show the time. Because it's not always that your reminder will not have the date, and sometimes you will have the date. So in those cases, you will simply do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to see if we can make that happen. If I say sort, I can say reminder.property title. And let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. You saw that over here? This particular reminder, since we sorted it, the reminder 0 is the one that contains the title, the notes, as well as the date for the reminder and time for the reminder. Since it contains all of those things, everything is automatically expanded. All right. So this is great. The next step that we want to do, which is an important step, is to actually update the reminder, to save the reminder. Now, where should we put the information to save the reminder? We can probably put a button somewhere on the top that will allow us to save the reminder. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I probably need to add like a toolbar. Let's see over here where it ends. Okay, there we go. After onAppear. So we can add a navigation title, detail. Okay, we don't really want that detail. We want it to be inline. So I can say display mode inline so that it kind of appears smaller in the middle. There we go. And we can also add a toolbar. So we can say toolbar content and placement. Where are we going to place this one? the first button for the toolbar? Well, we're going to go ahead and place it in the leading, so on the left side, and this button will simply allow us to close. So this is with the saying dismiss. There is no dismiss. Well, we need to go on the top, and probably I'll put it on the top over here. You know, this is kind of weird. Like, where do we put this? I guess I can put it over here. Here we go. Dismiss, private var dismiss. And now we can call the dismiss. Great. And we need to add another button, so toolbar button, but in this case it will be more on the trailing side, so on the right hand side. And this is going to be the done button. This will also dismiss, but it will also update the reminder. Update reminder. And then it will dismiss. So where should we put this code for update reminder? Well, we can just go ahead and create a function called update reminder. There we go. And inside that, we can do that. But before that, we should also check if our reminder is valid or not. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and create private var is form valid Boolean. So what exactly allows us to make sure that the reminder is valid? The reminder should have a title at least, right? So not empty and white space. All the other things, notes, the date, the time, they're all optional. So whether you provide it or not provide it, that's fine. The other thing something that you can add on your own is, and I'm not going to go into detail for that, but that's something that you can add, is that only allow the user to select the dates that are today or in the future. So all of these dates should be kind of like faded out, because you cannot go back in time and do those tasks, right? How do we do that? Maybe we'll cover it in the future. That will be an exciting thing to cover, but that is something that you can also do. Next, let's go back over here in my dismiss function in the button, and I only want the button to be enabled if the form is valid. So if the form is not valid, make sure that the button is disabled. And you can see that right now the button is enabled because I have the reminder title, but let me remove the title. There we go. And now it is disabled. All right. So what do we do? How do we update? In the update function, update reminder is still blank. There's nothing going on. Well, all of the information that we collected is already in the variables like title, notes, reminder date, reminder time. All of these things are already over there. So all we need to do is to simply assign it. Title equals to title. Reminder.notes equals to, well, if notes are empty, then go ahead and assign nil, or else go ahead and assign the notes. And the same thing we're going to do for our reminder date. Let's go back over here. We can say reminder.reminder date, and reminder date is already in the reminder date, so we're just going to go ahead and assign that. But the problem with this is that if I simply assign this value, it is going to assign now, right? And that kind of messes everything up. So for that, and I don't really like this approach, but I will have to check if the show calendar is true, then the reminder date, or else you're going to go ahead and assign nil. I don't really like this approach. Probably it will be a better idea to investigate in the future that how we can make this reminder date an optional, because now I'm dependent on checking this show calendar flag. I don't really like it. Probably in the future refactorings, I'll figure something out. And the same thing with show time. I don't like checking show time because that has something to do with the UI part of it, and we're just trying to assign value. So I don't like this approach. We'll definitely have to change that in the future and make sure that we assign optional update. That will make a little bit more sense. Okay, So after making this change, I think we should be good to go. We have reminder, everything, reminder, update reminder, dismiss. Only thing left to do is to go ahead and run this and see if it works. Now, before we do that, have you checked out my brand new website, azamsharp.school? This is where I'm hosting a lot of my different courses. If you go to the courses link, you can see all of these different courses, including my brand new course on SwiftUI architecture, patterns, and best practices. So this is a course that I've been working on for a very long time, and all the different things that I learned about SwiftUI I added to this course. You can check out the promo video, but definitely check out the content, MVVM, limitations of MVVM, migrating from MVVM to MV pattern, aggregate models, stores, SwiftUI views, validation, a huge section on testing, and a lot more. So after you complete this course, you will have a better understanding of what Apple intended for the SwiftUI architecture and how we can just make it simple and not fighting the framework. Now, there are multiple ways of getting this course. You can just buy this one-off course, $149, or you can subscribe and get access to everything. And that's what usually people do. They just subscribe to the membership and they get, well, as you can see, a lot of courses. And I'm always working on brand new courses. I'm also hosting workshops. These are 3.5 hour Zoom live workshops. And the next workshop coming up is on SwiftData fundamentals on June 22nd. So make sure that you register for that. These are just amazing workshops because it's all hands-on. There are no slides on anything. It's all hands-on. You will be building application. You will be building your server. You'll be learning about test-driven development. So it's a lot of fun. So definitely make sure that you sign up for these workshops too. Again, the website is azamsharp.school. Hope you enjoy. All right, so it turns out that we have to do a little bit more to get it working because we are passing in is selected false over here. We also need to make sure that we are making this checkbox checked and unchecked, because right now if I click on it, if I tap on it, you can see it doesn't really change the state. A lot of things are not really working because this is selected is always false. So let's go ahead and make sure we take care of that issue. So I'm going to create a function called isReminderSelected, where you can pass in the reminder and it can return you a Boolean. And the way that we're going to check if the reminder is selected is simply going to check the persistent model ID, that is the ID for that particular reminder. That doesn't really change. And if that is equal to the selected, actually not equal to, but yeah, equal to comparison, selected reminder is the same as the reminder that is in the list, then it means that that particular reminder is selected. So now I can go ahead and call isReminderSelected, passing in the reminder. There we go. Other thing that we need to do is, even though you're passing it, it's selected or not selected. If I tap on these things, you can see the info button appears, but the checkbox never really changes its look. So we need to change that part also. So let's go back to the reminder cell view. All of these little things matter. Let's go back. Okay. So where do we have, okay, there it is. We have the circle, which is simply displaying this part. And it's always going to display the circle. So we need to change that. It should be dependent on checked. If it is checked, then you will not display the circle. You will display the circle.inset.filled, else you will display the circle. All right. And everything else should be okay. Let's see over here. Oh, there we go. You see that? Just one line, small line of code, and we were able to do that. That's pretty cool. Let's go back to our screen over here, and let's see if we can actually edit a reminder. I'll go to groceries. I can see different groceries. Okay, I can select that. It doesn't really go away right now because we still have to like remove it. That's fine. I'll select this. Okay, I see the info button. I'll click on the info button. Oh yeah, it actually brings up the really nice view that we have created. Looks like this particular reminder, which is reminder 1, it contains all of these things. It contains the reminder title, that's a requirement. Reminder notes, we have the date, we have the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and say edit over here and just edit over here. The date, I'll select tomorrow. Time, okay, let's do 9:11 p.m. or something and then say done. All right, so this is fine. I think this got updated and 9 p.m. Yeah, again, we don't really want to display the whole thing over here for the time. Like you can see the whole date. So eventually we'll have to remove that. Edit, you see that edit? Edit is good. And then again, the notes are good. So everything is updating correctly. It's just that the time is displayed with the date and we can figure it out later on, but that's good. And we can also check these things now. So eventually when we check these things, they will have like maybe a 2-second delay and they will be gone. Why 2-second delay? Well, if I check this and I'm like, oh no, I didn't really want it to do that. Oh, I can uncheck it. All right, so that's why. So this was I guess a long video, but you learn a lot about how to keep things simple when you are building your reminder application using SwiftData. We're not fighting with SwiftData. We're just trying to use SwiftData as it is meant to be. All right. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much and stay tuned for more.